deal with airplane peanuts.
Who is Caleb Pressley? Any stoolie knows exactly who Caleb is, a top 3 personality in Barstool history who's carried the company's content on his back at times. But fans of this channel might only recognize his face as the guy who's always alongside Theo Von. And after Theo accompanied Caleb to Iowa University last week in a full cap and gown to watch college hoops and create content for Barstool, it's time to take a deeper look at exactly how these two met, why they instantly became best friends, and how this genuine relationship has resulted in loads of exciting, fresh new Theo Von content in some wild situations that we don't typically see other comedians take part in.
Dude, I can't tell if this is a good interview or...
What do you mean?
If I have autism, dude.
Theo Von and Caleb Pressley first met almost 5 years ago in the spring of 2019. A few months later, Theo Von moved from Los Angeles to Nashville, where Caleb Pressley was currently living at the time. And ever since that point, their relationship has blossomed into a full-on best friendship outside of the content world. But when Theo and Caleb are on screen together, these two are quietly in the conversation for the funniest 1-2 punch anywhere on the internet. Combining the perfect mix of Theo's natural curiosity with the unique nature of Caleb's role at Barstool is a fun recipe that's resulted in 3 episodes of This Past Weekend and 1 Sunday Conversation, all combining for 11.6 million views from just interviews alone. Not even counting their adventures giving out SEC football Gatorade baths, joining the student section at Big Ten basketball games, and even going out with professional duck hunters.
Theo might hip shoot him.
If he's willing to be shot, I'm willing to shoot him.
You truly don't have to watch very much of these guys together to see why they get along so well. Every interaction seems like Theo and Caleb are 2 high school buddies freely joking around and being themselves without any sense that the cameras are rolling. Almost every comedian will tell you that the best part of their job is getting to hang out with fellow comics, which is probably true. However, no matter how close 2 comedians may be, a base level of competitive nature can still be looming over every interaction. But Caleb Pressley is basically a comedian who doesn't do stand-up, meaning he possesses the same humorous mind and comedic intellect that any professional comic has, but still works in an industry that's adjacent to the world comedians live in. Sunday Conversation and This Past Weekend are 2 of the most successful comedy shows on YouTube, both containing similar senses of humor where the viewer is interested in the guest, but feels more connected to the host. Thus, every episode starts to feel like an inside joke where the viewers are waiting to see how the guests will react to the quirks of the host. Theo Von and Caleb Pressley both mainly rely on their eccentric personalities and natural charisma to make people laugh. Styles are so individually unique and impossible to recreate. And as someone who's been following both these guys for a while, if you like Theo Von, you'll definitely like Caleb Pressley and vice versa. Especially because at this point, Caleb is basically Barstool's version of Theo Von.
What do you say to people who say Shane Gillis sits when he pees, but he still points his wiener forward and pees on the wall of the stall? What do you say to those people? What do you say to those people?
I would say that's bullshit, dude. It's totally false.
I'm just asking.
Outside of some massively viral moments with comedians on Sunday Conversation, the relationship between Barstool Sports and stand-up comics has always existed in some shape or form. From KFC Radio to Answer the Internet and even Bussin' with the Boys, who weirdly enough might be the Barstool employees spending the most time with high-level comedians at this point, which is pretty ironic considering that their introduction to most comedy fans was Will Compton pranking Theo Von into thinking that Caleb Pressley had passed away. A wild situation that we covered in depth in a previous video, but is relevant again in today's video in order to highlight how close of a relationship Theo and Caleb truly have.
People were dying, dude. And then you guys said you did, you know, I got that text on that airplane and that's when Will Compton said that you died.
Yeah, so when I got out, Will Compton comes and visits me in the hospital, and I told him what happened. My family's telling him what happened because it was funny afterwards. I think it scared them in the moment. He's like, well, let's send a video. Let's tell Theo you died. Tell Theo you did it and you died. So he texts you and he was like, dude, did you hear what happened to Caleb? And you hit him back right away. You're like, what happened? And he was like, he passed away. And then he immediately took a photo of me doing like this in my little gown. But then you're on a plane, so
the photo didn't come in.
The photo didn't come.
Yeah. And he's like, I'm absolutely gutted. That's what he said with the photo, I guess. And so that's all I got. And then that Wi-Fi kept cutting in and out.
Like, yeah, was that a little much and far? Absolutely. But anything for a nice little laugh.
It's honestly shocking that no other comedy podcast has tried to get Caleb Pressley as a guest yet, especially after seeing how funny he is with comedians on his own show and as a guest on This Past Weekend. It would be very cool to see Caleb start following Theo around to some events in the comedy world, the same way Theo has been doing with Caleb in the sports world. Seeing these two chopping it up up with comics in the Mothership Green Room or as a guest duo on Kill Tony would be electric. But it's also easy to envision Kayla Pressley sitting in the inflatable guest chair on Bad Friends, or even one day across from Joe Rogan.
What else is going on, Caleb? I don't know when we'll see each other again.
Dude, we've seen each other enough.
Yeah, you're right, man. Yeah, you're right about that, dude.
No, you're coming to Florida.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's right. I'll see that on there
Like 2
next
weeks.
week.
I kind of want to. I'm starting to think about a recruiting strategy to get you out of Nashville down to Florida, just because I like to make people do things that I do in life. Like whether it's, I was recruiting people to Nashville. My lease was about to be up in a month. I was trying to get people to move here.
Guest spots from last week. The Joe Rogan Experience had on Sam Morrill, Chris Williamson, and Dr. Phil. Two Bears, One Cave was Tom and Duncan Trussell. Kill Tony this week was with Ari Shafir. Bad Friends had a family episode. Gene Simmons came all over your mom's house. We Might Be Drunk had on Richard Jefferson. Matt and Shane's Secret Podcast had Lemaire Lee move nimbly over to the couch. Are You Garbage spoke with Mateo Lane. Taste Buds battled Chips Ahoy versus Oreos. Sal Volcano took a wild ride with Steve-O. Flagrant did not have a guest. Josh Wolf was on the Wayback Podcast. And the Regs returned this week for episode 8.
Are you guys watching? Yeah, I'm watching. Oh, I'm watching. Oh, baby, I'm watching. Cool.
Whoa!
Pretty nuts.
Whoa!
Whoa!
Watch the last one. That was fantastic.
That was
good.
This past weekend with Theo Von talked with Billy Strings. Tim Dillon stopped by Real Ass Podcast. Legion of Skanks welcomed Jordan Jensen and Steve Ranazizi. Reggie Watts was on The Honeydew. Jim Norton was a guest on Whiskey Ginger. Jim was also on Stavi's World and Tiger Belly. The Blocks Podcast had on Dusty Slay. First Date featured Moshi Kasher. Shane Torres made it weird with Pete Holmes. Rick Glassman had Arnold Schwarzenegger take his shoes off. Being Ian with Jordan welcomed the band Angel Dust. And Greg Fitzsimmons took a ride on the Harland Highway. As far as new stand-up comedy specials are either out right now or coming out soon, Taylor Tomlinson, Have It All, and Mike Epps, Ready to Sell Out, are both out on Netflix right now. It's been a slow start to the year as far as new stand-up specials go, but there's a few in the works right now that will be coming out soon. For example, the big one this week is Thursday, February 22nd. H. Foley has a new stand-up special that will be coming to YouTube via the Are You Garbage YouTube channel, which is super exciting. Next week, Donnell Rawlings has a new special coming out on Netflix, February 27th, and another upcoming Netflix special to circle on your calendars is May 4th. Cat Williams will be going live from the Netflix is a Joke Festival, debuting his new hour to the world all in one take. If you want to learn more about the upcoming Cat Williams global live stream and what that means for the comedians he recently called out on Club Shay Shay, check out our full video detailing Cat's live special on the end screen right after this. We've got some good stuff cooking this week over here at Joke World, so do yourself a favor and hit subscribe right now if you want to stay in the comedy loop. Or if you just enjoy clicking buttons and want to make me go, yeah, we got another subscriber, that's another reason to hit that button as well. Thank you for watching.
At Joke World. That's it, at Joke World.
And the world is WRLD.
That's a great YouTube channel, Joke World. Check it out.